Once again, we would like to apologize to you, our colleagues, for my colleagues, for the late start of this briefing. We have already seated to my extreme left the country representatives of the UNODC, Dr. Oliver Stope, and right at the middle is Secretary to the agency, Shedrack Aruna Esquire, who will be standing in for the chairman at this briefing. And to my immediate left is the Director of Planning, Research and Statistics, DCGN Victoria Egbase. We have an array of directors of the agency already seated to my right. So this is the moment that we need to start having established that protocol. I'll then hand over the microphone to the secretary to the agency who would be addressing us on behalf of His Excellency, the Chairman Chief Executive, Brigadier General M.B. Marwa, and the country rep of the UNODC would also be speaking on the same issue. But first, we would like to start with the address already prepared test by the chairman that will be read by Secretary to the agency, Barrister Shedrack Aruna. Once again, we apologize for holding you a little bit behind schedule. Thank you, and please take a listen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and welcome to this press conference. On behalf of NDLA, I would like to start with an expression of appreciation to you all for honoring us. Let's start again. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me now? Okay. I would like to, on behalf of NDLA, I would like to start with an expression of appreciation to you all for honoring us with your presence. We appreciate your response to our invitation to this press conference. The media has been one of our strongest partners since we commenced the renewed fight against drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking. Your coverage of our activities has been a major contribution to the campaign to ensure a drug-free Nigeria. Thank you for all the reports and the effort you made to clarify issues with us whenever there were malicious reports out there. The reason for this press conference is to inform you of the forthcoming heads of National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies Africa with the acronym Honlaf conference, which Nigeria will host. It is a subsidiary body of United Nations Commission on Narcotic Drugs and a body under the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. The Honlaf meeting is an annual event that brings together heads of drug law enforcement agencies in Africa to discuss drug abuse and trafficking trends and develop actionable strategies to combat the scourge of this in the region. In the last one was held in Nairobi, Kenya, where Nigeria was unanimously elected as the host of the 31st edition, which will take place from Tuesday, September 26th to Friday, September 29, 2023 in Abuja. This Honlaf meeting features a lineup of activities that include technical meetings, paper presentations, deliberations on reports and trends on trafficking in drugs, workshops and bilateral talks among member nations. It is a platform for brokering collaborations in the areas of shared intelligence, joint training, and joint operations against international drug cartels in the African region. This year, Nigeria has the honor of being the chair and host of the meeting. So it means delegates from 53 other African countries will converge on the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on Monday. And for the rest of the week, there will be the guest of NDLA and the federal government of Nigeria. Aside from delegates from African countries, there will be representatives from observer bodies and other non-African countries who will be attending the conference. Permit me at this juncture to give a quick rundown of order of activities for the 4-day program. The opening ceremony is on Tuesday, September 26th at 10 a.m. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the special guest of honor. The President will deliver a keynote address and also declare the conference open. Also, the Attorney General of the Federation and the Honorable Minister of Justice, Chief Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, will be at the opening ceremony as a guest of honor, and he will deliver a speech. The ceremony will be attended by some invited ministers and heads of relevant parastatals as well as other guests. A short break will be observed for a photo session and a media interview before the continuation of the proceedings for the day. Once the protocol of the meeting ceremony is out of the way, the conference goes into a full swing with deliberations and paper presentations by conference. Activities will continue on Wednesday, September 27th through Thursday, September 28th. The conference will provide opportunities for bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the main agenda on Wednesday and Thursday. Hence, there will be a series of activities there will be a gala night for delegates and other participants of the conference. On Friday, which is the last day of the conference, a communique will be issued on resolutions, action plans, and policies emanating from the week-long conference. In the course of the conference, there will be visits to places of interest in the FCT, particularly NDLA 24/7 Drug Abuse Counseling Call Center, will be one of such places. This is the basic outline of the order of activities for the conference. So we crave the indulgence of our friends in the media to help give this meeting maximum coverage and also help sensitize the public about the significance of this conference to Nigeria. Among other positive outlooks, Nigeria hosts the 31st Honlaf as an indication of the international community's confidence in the country's will to deal decisively with drug trafficking and a trust in the leadership quality of NDLA among its peers on the continent. At the last Honlaf meeting in Nairobi, Nigeria seized the momentum to broker cooperation with a number of countries with the intention of forming strong regional network against transnational illicit drug organizations trying to establish bases in our countries. Such bilateral relationships have been crucial to NDLA's success stories in the past years. Let me also add that Nigeria was elected to host the 31st conference through a unanimous decision at the close of the 30th meeting in Nairobi in 2022. Like other heads of narcotic agencies in Africa to have Nigeria host the 2023 conference, follow the country's good relationship with others on the continent, and NDLA's exemplary performance in the renewed fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking. We hope your reporting of all this will further motivate members of society and other critical stakeholders to join NDLA in partnership to keep our country safe from the scourge of illicit drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for being here today, and thank you for coming. Thank you.
Please, if you want to jam our hands together, let's do once again for the agency secretary. I expected my colleagues who were served by the media to do better, but thank you. That's okay. That's enough. Now we invite the country rep of UNODC, our very good friend over the years, Dr. Oliver Stope, to make his remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babafemi. And sure. And thanks a lot to the NDLEA Secretary my good friend Shadrach Haruna for this already very comprehensive briefing, which prevents me from um, actually having to add much at this stage. I also would like to apologize for coming in late. I do hope that I will not have made you wait too long. In addition, maybe what could be mentioned is, of course, we are expecting as it was already said, the head of the narcotic law enforcement agencies from around the 54 African countries, as well as 15 observer nations. Not everybody will come, but we are confident that a large crowd will descend on Abuja and make this meeting utmost useful. Utmost useful, of course, one, already because of the substantive significance of the topics that will be discussed, most notably regional and international cooperation to reduce illicit cultivation and production of drugs, something that we have observed thanks to the operational successes of NDLEA over these past years, also here in Nigeria, not just in the terms of cannabis, but also manufacturing, for example, of methamphetamines. And including, however, also discussions around alternative developments, which is an approach that is being promoted in many countries that are traditional drug cultivation countries, and which I think, at least for some of the products that are being produced locally, could be also seen as a possible approach, so an opportunity to learn from others. Then another topic will be on financial investigations in drug trafficking cases and the role of cryptocurrencies in drug trafficking and related money laundering. I think it's fair to say that NDLEA has made great strides at starting to follow the money, so not only to seize drugs and arrest those ones that are basically being caught in the context of these investigations, but also to look at how to follow the money, how to seize the immense riches that are being produced through the illicit drug trade. Love for yourself. Very good. Yes, no, absolutely very commendable, very important. But again, I think we are only at the beginning in this journey, and I think we need to further up our collective efforts, and certainly with the new Proceeds of Crime Act that was passed last year, there's a huge opportunity to do exactly that. Then there is the issue of measures to counter illicit manufacturing and diversion of precursor chemicals. I think according to an assessment that was done jointly with NAFDAC and the Ministry of Health about maybe 2 years ago, with the support also of UNODC, we found that certain precursor chemicals that are being typically used in the production of illicit drugs are being imported in large quantities into Nigeria, and it is not always clear whether these chemicals are actually being consumed by the legal market, which of course exists for those. So I think another very topical discussion point. And finally, the link of drugs and the environment. This is a topic that has gained a lot of prominence in the international conversation. Actually, the last 2023 World Drug Report dedicated a full chapter to the topic. And as you might recall, when we did UNODC in partnership with all the national stakeholders, the cannabis survey about 2 years ago, we actually found that cannabis cultivation is a significant contributor to deforestation in the country. So again, something I think where we can gain from comparing notes with other countries and learning from them. One topic that I also would like to bring to your attention on the occasion of the opening of the Honlaf meeting, UNODC and the Nigerian Institute for Security Studies will be launching a very significant report on the organized crime threats that are currently facing Nigeria. the so-called Nigeria Organized Crime Threat Assessment. Now that report has been compiled with the contributions of 22 law enforcement agencies, of course very prominently the NDLEA itself, and we look forward to sharing that report for the very first time on the occasion of the opening, but then of course also in subsequent meetings and opportunities to discuss much deeper what can we actually learn from the data that was collected as part of the report, and what do we do now about it, which is, I think, always the most important conversation to take place. I think with that, I can sort of like conclude my own contributions to your briefing, Mr. Secretary. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Can we put it together once again for Dr. Oliver Stope? It's dazzling 12 o'clock, and that's actually the time we scheduled that will be ending this briefing. For me, it's convenient at this point to draw the curtain, but perhaps for you, my colleagues, if you want to ask one or two questions, we can still make that allowance. But if you are not ready for that, this is a convenient point to actually appreciate you as. You would have even allowed me to land first now. Okay, please go ahead. Does anybody have a mic there? Please, can you give to her? Your name, your medium, then your question, please.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kayla Magwa from Channels Television. So I do have a few questions. I'm going to start with Mr. Stolpe. Mr. Stolpe, so I'm listening to this report, the Organized Crime Threat Assessment Report. Is it going to have names, sir? Are we going to have, because it's an organized crime report, which means that you're talking about drug lords, and you're talking about people who are in charge of these organizations. Are we going to be hearing names of people who are being investigated or who have been convicted in this organized crime that is threatening our security in the country? That's my first question. And then, Mr. Secretary, sir, it will be impossible for us to stand in front of you today and not ask you some of the pressing questions that are going on in the country. And one of those questions has to do with two accusations that have been made to the NDLEA following the death of a particular... Yes, everyone calls him Mohbad. His name is Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Imole Aloba. Now, the first accusation, of course, we've heard your statements, but wanting to get you saying it on camera, sir. The first thing that the agency was accused of was giving him some sort of drink in some sort of bottle when he was in your custody that he says has made him to be very ill, all of these months afterwards. And then the second accusation that we're seeing right now is actually coming from some of his family members, basically saying that he was hit by a weapon when he was in the NDLEA's custody. If we can get you giving us some sort of clarification on this matter, it will be really helpful for us, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shaners. Don't just Oliver would answer the. I think, please. This press briefing has to do with Honlaf, and I think whatever has to do with Mohbad has been taken care of in a post that we shared weekend. We don't want to be dragged into it since the police is already investigating it. Thank you. Please, let's not preempt what the police is doing. Thank you. Let's give it over to Dr. Oliver Stope to answer the first question, please.
Thank you very much. Also for giving me the easier of the two questions. So the report, the Organized Crime Threat Assessment, is not an intelligence report. It is an analytical report that looks at broadly at markets, at trends, at structures of organized criminals and the changing environment of these structures, and some of the groups that are most active in Nigeria. It might here and there have some references to, for example, court cases if those have been concluded, but that is not the main purpose of the report. So we will not find like allegations, so to speak, in our report of cases that you haven't heard yet about. I think that's hopefully clear.
Any other one, please? Who? Okay. Please, this briefing has to do with Honlaf, 31st meeting of Honlaf. I will appreciate if we can restrict ourselves to it. Whatever you need to know thereafter, you can always talk to us one-on-one. Thank you. Who is saying yes, please? God bless you. Thank you. Would appreciate. I know, we know ourselves. This meeting, this press briefing is about Honlaf. Please, let's restrict and limit ourselves to that. If there is anything, my office is always open to you. Please, we can always discuss. Thank you, and do have a great day. Bem, that's awesome. Please, for those who are not on our list, because we have already prepared a list for those who will be invited to the opening ceremony of the Honlaf meeting on Tuesday. Please ensure that you put down your details, because we're preparing a tag. Only those, it's not like here that you can have unfettered access, but there at the venue, because of it's an international conference, which only those that can that have the badges duly accredited will be allowed inside. So please make sure that you update my colleagues at the registration desk with your details, so that you can be properly accredited for the coverage of the meeting next Tuesday. Once again, we would like to appreciate you for coming, and would continue to appreciate again your continued support. Thank you.
With life, let's stand tall, ready to unleash the power within us. Let's refuse to let drugs steal our dreams. Today, let's tap into our inner strength, igniting a fire that burns brighter than any substance. Let's channel our energy into creativity, sports, and meaningful connections. Together, let's defy the grip of drugs, spread our wings and soar to new heights. The power is within you. Say no to drug abuse.